Sir, many thanks for joining us and speaking to Bloomberg Quint. Let's start by asking you your assessment of the quarter gone by.
Let's split the performance in two parts, physical performance and the financial performance. In terms of physical performance, I think we did extremely well. Refineries, although the refineries were getting ready for BS6 production, because all the projects are completed and the shutdowns are over, the refineries have come back online. So in terms of crude processing, we are marginally lower than the Q3 of last year, but we processed close to 17.5 million ton, which is still more than 100% capacity, the overall capacity of all the refineries put together. The very positive side is today all the refineries are producing BS6 fuel, and we have started supplying fuel BS6 to the marketing network. And very soon you will start seeing city after city, state after state getting converted to BS6, which is again a very positive sign. In terms of total revenue, we were close to 1,44,000 crores, which is again a shade lower than the Q3 last year.
Right.
Now, it was predominantly because of the lower prices or the lower cracks. That's how this number was lower, although our sales during the quarter was more than the last year. So it was predominantly because of the price impact that we saw it. A very common factor which is used for indicating the performance of the refineries in particular is gross refinery margin, or GRM as we call, which on a collective basis for all Indian oil refineries were $4.09 per barrel. Again, it was, and which also had a positive impact because of inventory gains. Because this quarter, unlike the previous year's quarter, we saw close to 1,600 crores of inventory gain, which impacted positively towards the positive impact on GRM, which was equivalent to $1.94. So if we exclude that, then the core GRM or the net GRM was about $2.15, which I won't say is a very good GRM, predominantly because of lower cracks between product and crude.
And you said you saw in the sales volume they were better in the last quarter.
Yes.
How do you see that panning out going ahead?
Because if we break down to individual products, we have seen robust growth happening in LPG and gasoline. Jet fuel has also started coming up. We saw impact in the jet fuel, particularly for Indian Oil, I would say, and otherwise for the sector also, because of one airline, Jet Airways, going out of business. So there was negative impact on the volumes, but that has started reversing. We have seen throughout the year, we have seen very positive growth of gasoline, in spite of the low vehicle sale quarters which we saw last two quarters. In fact, Q3, the vehicle sale has started picking up again, because all the numbers were better than the Q2, whether we talk about passenger cars or heavy vehicles. So those sales numbers were much higher than the Q2. The diesel had been, although for the first 9 months, the diesel growth is positive, close to plus 0.8 or plus 0.9. But definitely it is lower than what we expected during the beginning of the year. Overall, we are seeing a positive growth of all the POI.
You're seeing consumption growth to sustain?
I'm sorry?
You expect the consumption growth sort of to sustain there?
You see, as I said, because diesel month-on-month basis, we had seen wide fluctuations. Now diesel, it impacts because the volume of diesel is very high. So this is a single product which can impact the overall growth. Now there had been different reasons. Not every month we can link it with the poor transportation, because heavy monsoon months, always we see lower diesel consumption. Delayed monsoon, heavy monsoon, we always see lower diesel consumption. So we had been seeing those impacts also this year.
Now with government looking to privatize BPCL, with RIL, BP also expanding, and government is also opening retail for non-oil companies, how do you see that will change the dynamics as far as the pricing is concerned?
As far as the pricing, you see, number one, let's all accept that higher competition is good for customers. Now we have seen private players coming in retail many years ago, and presently the Indian retail market is fairly open, fairly competitive. Now the way we are pricing products today, they are globally competitive, because today the retail prices are worked out on the basis of the FOB prices or the global prices of individual products. So Indian companies today are not only competing within India, they are competing globally. because the pricing is globally competitive today. In terms of technology, I think we are absolutely competitive. We are all capable, and the technology, when I'm saying, it's not only within the refineries, but also what we adopt in our marketing network. So while if other players are coming in, and definitely they will come in, they will bring in probably more value to the customer. They will make us more fitter. But we have all the ingredients to take care of or to face any competition. The pricing will remain challenged. I mean, because while we have very modern refineries, we have the best class of fuels which these refineries are producing. We have a very strong network. So I think there are a lot of strengths which the company possesses today to take care of any competition.
How do you see GRM going in 2020? Because we expected some recovery there, but that's not happening.
You see, it's now, it's again, as I said earlier, it's strongly depending upon the cracks of the products. In terms of physical performance of the refinery, we have been doing extremely good. It's not only in terms of capacity of the refinery, but also the distillate yields had been close to 90%, 79.9 or 80%. The fuel and loss had been very low. The specific energy consumption had been very low. So we had been doing extremely well in terms of physical performance. Today we are able to buy cheap crudes from various sources. So the fundamentals are strong, but if the cracks are not very healthy. So let's see how the next quarter works out, because with IMO implication coming in, because IMO 0.5% sulfur for shipping industry has come in place from 1st January this year. So this is likely to impact, have some impact on the gas oil cracks, the diesel cracks, and with that we expect that the GRM should improve in the next
But what's
quarter.
happening in China? We're seeing GRM further trending lower. How are you seeing that?
You see, let's see, because number one, we don't know to the extent this will, the problem will escalate to, and to what extent it will have.
But that's
impact.
a concern.
That's definitely. I mean, to what extent it will have implication on the whole trade.
And last two quick questions, sir, on diversifying in terms of eyeing more, not increasing or not depending on one country in terms of getting the crude is concerned. There were talks of getting it from Russia and from Brazil. What's the strategy there, and are you in talks with both the countries?
No, I mean, you see, not only these two countries, because our objective had been to diversify the crude sources as much as possible, and depending upon depending on the countries which had been otherwise also closer to the country, had been always a positive aspect. Today we procure crude practically from each and every crude source or crude exporting country. IndianOil was the first company to import crude from US in India, and we are also in talk with these two countries, and let's see how the things come out.
Right, and lastly, how do you see the crude movement going ahead?
I mean, nobody can predict this. I mean, I can only say that we had seen very volatile crude prices in recent times. But let us also look at the positives of what happened recently. We saw a couple of major incidents happening in recent past. In spite of that, the crude stabilized very quickly. And this all happened even when the Iran was already out of trade. Iran volumes were out of trade. So in such situation, I think it's a very mature trade today. I mean, in spite of such incidents happening, we have seen that the prices have not remained very abnormal for a very long time. So while we expect volatility, we also expect that the crude should remain in a certain range, and the predictions are, or the analysts are predicting that it should not go very high. So we see no driving force to take crude prices very high.
All right. It's a pleasure seeing you, sir. Thank you so much for your time and speaking to Bloomberg Quint.
Thank you.